Hello. Have we all recovered from whatever the fuck last week was? If you were also having a fucking time, let me know. It seems like the struggle bus trademark had a lot of passengers last week, if you know what I'm saying, and that we all just kind of collectively shit the bed and had to hit the reset button come Monday this week. I had 4 meetings scheduled, discovery calls, some were just coffee chats, and I literally had to cancel all of them. And as I was reaching out to folks and being like, hey, some stuff has happened, do you mind if we push this to next week? Every single person was like, yes, please. I've just had a family emergency, or I've just had woken up with a gigantic migraine, or like for whatever reason I was gonna ask you the same thing if we could push it. Thankfully, knock on wood, everyone that I was reaching out to and being like, hey, can we reschedule, also wanted to reschedule. And then I was like looking around on threads and I saw that truly everyone was having such a bad time. Just wanted to say that if you were part of that group, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. I was also there. We were riding the struggle bus together. Now that that's out of the way, we've hit the reset button, right? Let's pretend that last week didn't happen. How is my phone addiction going? Well, it's not a linear process as with any addiction. Now my partner, I'm married to an American that travels here every 3 months, and now my partner is back. I've kicked them out of the flat so I can record this just for now. But yeah, now that like I was living by myself for 3 months and now I'm living with another person, I love having them here. Love, 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 love. Obviously that is like the life that I prefer, of course. It's still dysregulating to go from like being used to something. It's the change that's dysregulating and not anything else. So now, because there's been a change happening and because of how like my autism likes to handle it, I tend to bend my own boundaries a little bit more. For example, I do still leave the phone in the living room to charge overnight, but when my alarm rings in the morning, I just get up, turn the alarm off, grab the phone, and bring it back to bed with me, which completely defeats the purpose of trying to stop myself from scrolling first thing in the morning. Now, I haven't been doing that. I think it's like what I'm looking for is like the needing to get out of bed in the morning. I tend to just stay in bed, especially when like my sweet love is in bed with me that I haven't seen for months and months. Like obviously I want to stay in bed. And they're a sleepyhead, and so am I. It doesn't make me scroll more on my phone, I guess. Like it's been a little, So I don't really know how to sort that out. And another thought that I had following the Kiwi discussion that I was talking about last week, which by the way, I've also seen several other people on threads talk about how they ate a kiwi and then they went to bed and had like the best sleep of their lives following fucking eating a kiwi. It's real, y'all. It's fucking real. Try it out for yourselves. Have a kiwi tonight. Go buy yourself some kiwis and then report back. You'll have such a good sleep. I swear to God. But something that I have been thinking about in relation to that is I don't really like know how many hours of sleep that I need. And I think like waking up deathly tired every day, despite getting 8 hours. So, okay, maybe 8 hours. I'm being generous there. Like, it's usually between 7 and 8 hours. And I know that 7 is not enough. 8 feels like it should be enough. Then I've seen some folks talk about how many hours of sleep they would prefer to have on a retreat, for example. Like, if you're going on a retreat, how many hours of sleep would you prefer? And I saw a lot of AFABs, assigned female at birth, who said, anywhere between like 9 and 10 hours. So I'm like, am I just like not getting enough sleep? Is that the thing? Has capitalism really dug its claws so deep into me that I am under the belief that 8 hours of sleep is appropriate, just as, an 8-hour workday is normal, which I know that that's not normal. So now I'm like, I had that thought last night and now I'm having to come to terms with it. I would love to know how many hours of sleep you need to feel like you are refreshed. I can still operate on 8 hours, 7 or 8 hours. It's like the getting up that is so fucking horrible. And I think I tend to just like stay in bed and loiter a lot longer. Kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day for me. Anywho, what are we here for today? I've talked about how to fuel obsession in an attention economy where we are all just trying to get the fuck offline, unpacking that statement a little bit, my credentials, and that what I really believe is the key here is world building, making it into a spectacle, into a thing. It's a time and place that people want to visit. I believe that like the more that we treat it that way, the realer it becomes, and it's easier for us to like imagine the richness of it, and it doesn't just become this nebulous, or it doesn't stay this nebulous brand. Like, what the fuck is a brand? In this episode, I wanted to go through it will be a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more going through a framework sort of thing, tell you about what has helped me in both my own brand, but also a lot like the creative work that I do for my clients when I'm creating their brands and making that come to life. That's what we're getting into. Actually, I wanted to I have my notes like always. So it's Wednesday today, and I actually do quite adore Wednesdays because I feel like it's the only day where I actually make an effort to get up really early. Really early for me, by the way, is 8:30. You'll never ever catch me getting up at 5 a.m. and doing shit. If that's real early for you, then we're not part of the same species. I'm sorry. No, 8:30, 8 a.m. ish. That's early for me. I'm a night owl. But I love Wednesdays because that's the day where I actually make an effort to get up early, go outside as soon as I can so I can sit down in the sun and write my little notes for what I'm going to be talking about during these recordings. I spoke about the struggle bus. Oh yeah, I wanted to tie some stuff to that because I think before we move on to the framework stuff, I think that it's important to mention that whenever we do have to like kind of hit the panic button, when you're running a business and you're kind of dependent on hosting or like being online to keep your business afloat, it becomes a real problem when there's like any emergency or any inconvenience. It feels like all production suddenly comes to a halt. Nothing is moving forward because I'm not there, and I'm literally the only person who is propelling this forward. And if I'm not there, everything is standing still, and then you just feel this massive guilt towards yourself because you had to take time off because like someone in your family is literally dying, but you're feeling guilty because you're not showing up in your business. Girl, what are you doing? It's okay to take time off. I will be the first person to say, take the mental health day. This is something that we say a lot. I don't know if this is a saying in English, but this is something that we say a lot in Sweden, and especially in around burning out in employment. People always say nobody's gonna thank you for burning out. Nobody's gonna be thanking you for pushing yourself past the limit of what you can reasonably do. And I understand that a lot of the time for us neurodivergent babes, it's not about necessarily pushing ourselves past the limit, but it's about like not knowing what the fuck our limits are. We don't notice that we've pushed past our limit until it's too late, until we are already there. I digress. So many tangents. If you're dependent on having to keep posting to keep your business afloat, right? Unless you are prepared for that and have systems in place for marketing to be working even when you're gone, just like SEO ads, automated emails, your web copy, etc., is heating up leads for you, making those experiences memorable and tactile is what will really make them obsessed and not forget about you when things go tits up in your life and you gotta hit the panic button. The shame of feeling like you're disappointing everyone by actually attending to your screaming needs becomes that much easier to deal with because we do feel an immense shame of having to tend to our needs because we're all people pleasers at the end of the day. I'm waking up and I'm actually having the most horrible time ever. Part of me is saying to just force myself through it and sit down by my desk and fucking do it. Another part of me can't even like get out of bed right now. Can I work from bed? Yeah, sure. Will the quality of my work even measure up to what it is on a normal day? Probably not. And then how will I feel after? Like, if pushing myself today, how will I feel tomorrow? It's very easy for us to just kind of think about what's right in front of us, especially if you have ADHD. The fragility of your business is never more evident than when you're forced time off. Let's sit with that for a second. The fragility of your business is never more evident than when you're forced time off. And I'm not just talking about new clients coming in and warming up leads and such, but also client work things. A lot of the time, whenever we do have to hit the panic button, we fall behind on client work, which if you're working with like good aligned people, that shouldn't be a problem. They are probably most likely dealing with a lot of the same problems that you are too. So they do have understanding, but you don't want to always fall behind if you miss a day or a couple. You know what? Again, I digress. I'm not here to talk to you about systems or how to plan shit. I'm here to talk to you about world building, which is what we're getting into. The fragility of your business is never more evident than when you're forced time off. So let's build for longevity. Where do I begin? Where do you start? Now we're getting into it. Now we're truly getting into it. Where do I begin to build longevity? That's a very nebulous statement, right? Well, it depends. How well does your audience know you? How well do they know what you do? Do they know that you are qualified? Like, do they believe that you are qualified? Have you shown them proof you can deliver results? Do they need a reminder of who you are and what you're about? Probably. If you haven't been engaging in like a tangible brand world that people already know you for, folks are most likely not remembering you in the same way. They're not creating those memory structures in the same way that someone who does have a like built out tactile world would be. And people always need a reminder. I say a lot of the time, write your creation story, which is where this is starting. Actually, let me just read it. Where do I start? 9 out of 10 times, you're gonna want to start with your creation story. It's the moment in time that changed literally everything for you. It's everything that led up to that moment, how it changed you, and what happened afterwards. So it's the catalyst. Oh God, I gotta sneeze. Oh, bless me to put the devil back into me. Your creation story is the moment in time where everything changed for you. The catalyst that now has you knowing something that you cannot unknow, you didn't know before, and now like everything is suddenly different. The moment you knew that something had to fucking change, right? Your creation story talks about everything that led up to that moment of this big change. It sets the foundation for everything that followed that has led up to where you are today. My moment in time creation story, like my big bang that changed everything, was after uni. I'd been applying for jobs for months and I was coming up to needing to pay my rent late one summer and I had no plan. I had no money. Nothing was coming in. This was way before I started my business. I didn't know what to do. I had a skill. I had been doing cosplay photography at conventions for a couple of years. But I had to travel there and it was only happening once a year. So I had to travel there, book people. Like everyone was really young, like young adults. So they didn't have a lot of money. And, you know, I didn't want to be like, hey, you got to pay me a bunch of fucking money to take your photos when they had already spent like pretty much all their money making their actual costumes. But it was still enough for me to get by. I had the amount that I needed to pay for a bus ticket there, pay for the entry ticket for 3 days, and then I had lodgings with a friend who lived in the city where this convention was taking place. So lodging was free, but basically I had $50. My friend that I was living with was helping me to stay hydrated and fed, basically. I brought my equipment, my camera, my lenses, everything. I had a bit of like a presence and reputation in that world, if you will. So I could book some sessions pretty easily. I went there, I did my photo shoots, and it ended up paying my rent for that month. And that's kind of when I realized, like, this is like a mantra that I've had ever since then, that nobody got me but me. Nobody else is going to be doing this. Nobody else is going to have my back except for myself. That was the seed that started to grow into this idea now that I have of worshiping yourself, because you are, at the end of the day, the person that is going to be going through everything. Doing shit scared, doing shit uncomfortable, doing it anyway. Because whatever it takes, it has to work. It has to work. Nobody got me but me. That's my origin story. That's my creation story. And now, you know, I've ended up here. I'm helping people build brand worlds based on the experience that I have from working in the theater world. That's your creation story. The moment in time that changed everything for you, everything leading up to that, and everything that happened after. Next is, what is your universe? So if you think of the creation story as the Big Bang, what universe was created like in the aftermath of that? Think about like your brand's mind palace. Maybe this is just me being a very, very visual person. This is just how I think. I don't have any other reference point, so I wouldn't know how to explain it differently. When I close my eyes and I think about my business, I see a very tangible, like, existing place. It's in the woods. There's a temple. There's a big fire. There's a giant pot of, like, bubbling, weird, primordial soup. There are people walking around in red and black robes. It's just like a bit like sinister vibes. What I'm trying to get at here is thinking about your brand's mind palace and imagining it with all of the details that you can. Again, I talked about this in the previous episode a bit with describing the world of Astrid Lindgren, the Liseberg theme park that we have here. You can go back and listen to that. I would probably link it somewhere in the description. But just imagining it with so much vivid detail. Whenever you're closing your eyes and you're in there, you're able to just like look in any corner. You know, it's not just a blank void. There's shit there. So we have creation story and then your universe that was created after the creation story. And then we have language or communication, language. You've created a whole new world, a whole new world. I can't sing. I'm gonna spare you. You've created a whole new world, so it will have its own language too. This manifests as offer names, and that includes like your free stuff, like your freebies, your newsletter, and things like that. Not just being like the mastermind, the group program. Name it something that would make sense in the context of your brand world. That is why you are imagining the universe, this mind palace. What function does it have? It's there for you as a place to visit whenever there is a like branding puzzle for you to solve or needing to crack. That could be anything from naming to what do you want, like what's the creative direction of this, how does my brand sound, both with voice but like also like how would it sound with music, like what kind of music would I put on my Instagram posts, for example. That's how I see it. That it's I think we don't notice, we face these brand puzzles a lot. They come up quite often, and I think we subconsciously are making decisions about it as we're going along. And the decisions that we make, they're not always coming from a informed place, which is why I believe that it's really important to have like a business world or brand world mind palace that you can walk into when you're like, okay, I have this puzzle that I need to crack. Let me go visit my place and figure it out. Like, what would make sense in that world? Having like a brand mind palace world helps it keep it cohesive, and you create like a reference point for yourself. A little bit like a mental mood board, but not quite. Like it's, I don't know what it's called, like when you're not able to imagine things in your mind. And if you're one of those people, try YouTube, try like photos, like go on Pinterest and find photos of places that would be representative of your brand world and imagine yourself walking through those places. When it comes to language, right? That's something that your your universe would be informing as well. So things like offer names, the shit still needs to be familiar at the end of the day, that it's not just like you're naming stuff just for the sake of naming them. They are grounded in the brand world in a way. For example, when I'm working with clients and we are talking about their ideal clients, I call them acolytes. My brand world is a cult compound, so it makes a lot of sense to call audience members acolytes. They're coming to me to learn, and they're coming to me to learn how to make their own cults and then go out into the world and gather together their own acolytes. Shit still needs to be familiar, obviously, because it is marketing at the end of the day. When I say language, it's language to help you communicate your methods, your way of seeing things, your ideas, what you believe, and all of that good stuff, to just call in those other people who feel the same. Not only does language help you communicate your beliefs, but whenever people are actually then coming into your world, the language that you have set for them also helps them communicate about their experiences to others that are outside of your bubble or people who are inside of it. Like, for example, if it's folks that are inside of your group program and you're using like very branded language inside of it, people have a way of talking about it and referring to it. But you have to be the one spearheading it. You have to be at the person who's at the front talking this language first and repeating it for others to start repeating it after you. And it needs to make sense. Lastly, in this framework, we've got creation story, universe, language. Lastly, we have themes. In this case, is leaning into a little bit of creative direction. In your universe, what reoccurring themes come up that could be metaphors for your work? If we take like ADHD, for example, or in my case, autism, in my universe, ADHD, autism, they're very like real things, but in a world that is like literally a cult compound, how does that manifest? First of all, I don't say neurodivergent necessarily, because I feel like me personally, I feel like that word is overused and it doesn't really fit into my brand unless I'm talking about it like in a more serious manner. I've been saying soup brained for a while, and that has really stuck with people. What does that have to do with my brand world and like this cult compound? Well, there's always like a weird big pot of soup everyone is adding to it. It's like in Stardew Valley. If you know, you know. It's the communal soup that everyone is adding to. We don't really know what's in there. It's just a huge cauldron of eternal bubbling soup that you're just adding to. We don't know who started it. It's just always been there. Whenever your brain is a little extra soupy, you might have been taking too many sips of the communal soup because we don't know really what's in there. So it's causing you to go a little cuckoo. Whenever you do have like I mentioned earlier, like those moments of if you need to take a mental health day, brain is soup. The framework that I've been going through: creation story, universe, language, themes, cult. There it is. The cult framework is a lighter version of the belief system method that I teach in my free masterclass, Cult Thinking. Grab that down below. It's completely free, and I go more in depth into belief systems. This is for specifically world building, which is a part of your belief system. It has some bits and pieces pulled out of there. This is to help you get started, making things memorable, making things easier for yourself. What is this going to help you with? Cracking those branding puzzles. They're all great, but I think the most impactful building block out of these is the creation story, because it is something that you are going to want to repeat a lot all around, literally all around your business, in your content, on your website. Like, it should be part of your about page. It should be something that, like, it should be how you kind of like are introducing yourself. It should be something that your acolytes can recall and retell to others. If you want to go a bit deeper on this and learn about the belief system method, which is also a type of framework, it goes deeper into the creating like obsession and community belonging around a brand. You can grab my Cult Thinking Masterclass below in the description. I don't really like know how to wrap these up ever. I just my notes just end with autism and soup brain. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful somewhat to get your brain going a little bit and have a little framework to start building out your brand world. And let me know how it goes. Again, just to repeat, this is like to help you be memorable so that you don't have to like be constantly fucking online in order to for people to like remember you, basically. How do I make it unique? How do I make it a spectacle? Try out the C.U.L.T framework. All right. Thanks for listening. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna leave you. Mwah.